A week ago, someone burned the number 8647 into the grass on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Within hours, the Department of the Interior was calling it deranged vandalism, a threat against the president, a call for violence. I'm going to tell you why that reaction is a lie. And then I'm going to tell you something more important. I'm going to tell you where that lie comes from, who built it, who paid for it, and how long it's been running. Because this isn't about grass on the National Mall. It's about a machine that has been aimed at you for 50 years. Let's get into it. First, the grass. The administration wants you to believe this is a threat to assassinate the president. I've worked in restaurants for a long time, and I'm telling you right now, from direct personal experience, that 86 means one thing. It means remove. It means cut. It means we are out of that item. Take it off the menu. We do not have it anymore. That's it. That's the whole meaning. It has been the meaning in every kitchen and every restaurant in this country for the better part of 100 years. The word for killing something is kill. The English language already has a word for it. 47, of course, is the number of the current president. So 8647 means remove the 47th president. And this is the part that should really make you think. There are many ways to remove a president in a democracy such as ours. You can vote him out. You can impeach him. You can prosecute him. You can build a movement large enough that he resigns. Every single one of those is a legal avenue. Every single one of those is what democracy is supposed to look like. When the administration calls this phrase an assassination threat, they are doing something specific. They are pretending that the only way to remove someone from power is through violence. This is not a democratic point of view. This is an authoritarian idea dressed up as concern for presidential safety. This isn't an accident. This is a strategy, and it has a history. Let me show you what I mean. In 2009, Congress was debating the Affordable Care Act. Buried inside the bill was a simple, practical provision, allowing Medicare to pay doctors to sit down with terminally ill patients and help them plan their final days. Make a will. Talk about what they want their end of life to look like. This is a conversation most of us would want to have, and that most of us cannot afford to have without help. But Sarah Palin posted 2 words on Facebook: death panels. She said the government was going to create panels of bureaucrats who would decide if your grandmother was productive enough to deserve health care. It was, of course, a lie. There were no death panels. There was a doctor and a dying patient having a conversation the doctor would be paid to have. But the lie worked. The provision was stripped from the law. And for years afterward, doctors said out loud that losing it was actively harming dying patients. A lie deleted a medical benefit from the law. Dying people paid the price. Palin told a lie, and it was built on purpose. 2016, a hacker steals emails from a Clinton campaign official named John Podesta. Normal emails. Emails about meetings and schedules and pizza orders. Someone on a message board decided that the word pizza was code for child abuse. The story spread until it claimed Hillary Clinton and senior Democrats were running a child trafficking ring out of the basement of a pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C. Except the restaurant didn't have a basement. But a man in North Carolina believed it. He drove to Washington, walked into the restaurant with a rifle, and fired shots while he searched for children who were not there. The restaurant owner and his employees received death threats for years afterward. The lie evolved into an even larger conspiracy movement called QAnon, which spread to millions of people. Pizzagate was a lie, and the lie was built on purpose. 2018 through 2022. A theory spreads claiming white Americans are being deliberately replaced by immigrants and people of color. The theory has a name, the Great Replacement. It is a lie. There is no such plan. Tucker Carlson mentioned it on his Fox News show more than 400 times. A man who had absorbed this theory walked into a synagogue in Pittsburgh and killed 11 people. A man who had absorbed this theory walked into a Walmart in El Paso and killed 23 people. A man who had absorbed this theory walked into a grocery store in Buffalo and killed 10 people. After Buffalo, Tucker Carlson went on television and said he barely knew what the Great Replacement theory was. Yet he had already mentioned it 400 times. So it was a lie built on top of a lie, and people died because of it. 2024. A community of Haitian immigrants is living and working legally in Springfield, Ohio. J.D. Vance posts that they are stealing and eating people's pets. His own staff tell him the story is false before he posts it. He posts it anyway. Donald Trump repeats it at a presidential debate watched by 65 million people. Bomb threats hit the schools in Springfield, their government buildings, and their homes. State police are deployed to guard elementary schools. Days later, a CNN anchor asks Vance point blank if he can say the claims are true. He cannot answer that they are. Instead, he tells her that if he has to invent stories to get the media to pay attention to what he calls the suffering of the American people, that is exactly what he is going to do. In other words, he admits that if he has to lie to get people to pay attention to him, he will. And he did. He said it on camera, in real time, with no hesitation. And he does not walk it back. Haitians eating pets. An absolute lie. Elementary schools needed state police protection because of that lie. And the man who spread it told the country on television that he did not care whether it was true. 2020. Donald Trump loses the presidential election by 7 million votes. His own attorney general tells him there's no evidence of fraud. 61 court cases, including ones with judges he appointed, throw out his legal challenges. He raises over $250 million in Stop the Steal fundraising anyway. Most of it goes to a political action committee he controls. Tucker Carlson privately texts that the fraud claims are insane. Laura Ingraham privately calls them unbelievable. Fox News' own internal research shows the truth is costing them viewers. So, they keep lying, all the way to a $787 million settlement with Dominion Voting Systems, finding it preferable to allowing their own private texts to be read in open court. New Mexico's Secretary of State was doxxed and had to leave her home under state protection. Detroit's city clerk was sent a photo of a dead body and told to imagine it was her daughter. 1 in 3 election workers quit their jobs because of threats. It was a lie. The entire election stolen in 2020 was a lie. The people who told it knew it was a lie before they opened their mouths. Election workers were told their children would be killed because of it. 1 in 3 quit. And the man who raised $250 million on the back of that lie kept most of the money. These are not separate stories. They are the same story. They are products. manufactured by a machine that has been running since 1971, aimed at a population whose real anger at a system that has genuinely failed them was identified, cultivated, and pointed at invented enemies so that the anger would never land on the people who built the system in the first place. Do those stories feel random to you? Isolated mistakes? People getting carried away? Except they're not random. They're not mistakes. The purpose was never to inform anyone. The purpose was to confirm what the audience already feared. A person whose fears have been confirmed stops asking questions, and a person who has stopped asking questions is the most valuable political commodity in the world. This is social engineering. That is the correct term for it, and I'm going to use it without apology. This machine has a name and a founding document. In 1971, a corporate lawyer named Lewis Powell wrote a confidential memo calling for business to fund think tanks, courts, and media to fight back against accountability. 2 months later, he was nominated to the Supreme Court. Within 2 years, the Heritage Foundation was founded. So was ALEC. The blueprint became an industry. The Heritage Foundation handed Reagan a governing blueprint on Inauguration Day. 60% of it was implemented within a year. Reagan believed what he was saying. A man who genuinely believes a lie tells it with a conviction that no script can replicate. He was the perfect vessel. The Heritage Foundation proved that if you have a detailed governing blueprint ready on day one, and the vessel is right to deliver it, you can move 60% of your agenda in a single year. The vessel does not need to understand the blueprint. He just needs to sign it. And they never forgot that lesson. 45 years and 9 editions later, the Heritage Foundation produces Project 2025. It is 900 pages, a complete governing blueprint for the next conservative president. Trump spends the campaign publicly claiming he has never heard of it. His own budget director was one of the people who wrote it. Reagan made people feel hopeful while the money was being moved. Trump makes people feel angry. Both emotions serve the same purpose. They keep your eye on the people the machine points them at. Reagan was proof of the concept. Trump is the version where they stop needing grace, because grace was never an essential ingredient. The essential ingredient is rage, and Trump has an unlimited supply. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What about the other side? The closest thing the left built was the Center for American Progress, founded in 2003, 30 years after the Heritage Foundation, in response to losing. The gap exists not because Democrats were slow, but because the donor class funding their campaigns benefited from the same concentration of wealth the machine was built to protect. One side got weaponized. The other, the left, got managed. So let me say plainly what all of this actually is. The death panels, a lie. Dying people lost a medical benefit because of it. Pizzagate was a lie. A man fired a rifle in a pizza restaurant because of it. Employees lived under death threats for years because of it. The Great Replacement, another lie. 11 people died in Pittsburgh because of it. 23 people died in El Paso because of it. 10 people died in Buffalo because of it. Haitians eating pets, a lie. And the man who spread it, J.D. Vance, admitted on national television that he didn't care. Elementary schools needed state police protection because of it. But J.D. Vance said that he would lie again to keep the attention where he wants it. The stolen election was a lie. The people who told it knew it was a lie before they opened their mouths. Election workers were told their children would be killed because of it. 1 in 3 quit. And the man who raised $250 million on the back of that lie kept most of the money. These are not separate stories. They are the same story. They are products manufactured by a machine that has been running since 1971, aimed at a population whose real anger at a system that has genuinely failed them was identified, cultivated, and pointed at invented enemies, so that anger would never land on the people who built the system in the first place. The people who believe these things are not stupid. They were targeted. There is a difference. They were found. Their fears were fed. They were given an enemy with a face. Every new lie that arrived did not need to be proven. It only needed to rhyme with the last one. The people trying to tell them the truth had already been branded as the enemy. So the truth becomes evidence of the conspiracy they already believe. This is by design, engineered by professionals with 50 years of practice and billions of dollars of funding. The accountability has to be named. The people running the Heritage Foundation know what they built. The people who funded it know what they paid for. The executives at Fox News, who read their own internal research showing the truth was bad for ratings and chose the lie anyway, knew exactly what they were doing. They were not confused. They were not mistaken. They built a system that trades in human fear and human rage because fear and rage are profitable. And when people died in Pittsburgh and El Paso and Buffalo, they didn't stop. They kept going because the machine does not have a conscience. It has a business model, and that business model is rage. Rage centered around lies. This is what was done to the public, not by the enemies, but by the people they trusted. At what cost?